Hi, okay, so today I want to give an update on getting out of vaccines for children. And so when I went down to City Hall to get an affidavit to swear in and sign the sheet for moral or whatever beliefs that I don't want my child vaccinated, I wasn't able to do it this time around. So last time I had no problems with my son, and this time they said they've changed the law. So I know I mean, basically in California, you can't get out of it at this point unless you have a medical reason to get out of it. But most other states and in Canada, you still can. You can get out of this. So they're just making it harder. So I needed to talk to somebody, and I need to go do a course. So I need to go watch a 30-minute video, I think, on all the reasons I should be getting vaccinated before I can then go in and swear and do my affidavit at the clerk's office and sign the sheet, and before they'll let me out of it. So I said, is this going to be like a pressure tactic? And they said, well, we're just trying to make it harder for people. But no, you just go in, you watch this video, and then you'll be all set to do your affidavit. So this just, I have a lot of problems with medication. And I haven't gotten into my whole story or my whole beliefs, my whole thoughts. I will. I haven't yet because it's such a personal thing. But I will say in the area of vaccines that it absolutely makes no sense, in my opinion, to vaccinate your children. When you look at the research, I mean, first of all, you're vaccinating kids against diseases, babies, newborn infants against diseases that they are very, very highly unlikely to get, like hepatitis B. Immediately when they're born, they get vaccinated, before they even leave the hospital with that one. And there's no way that you can even get that unless you're a drug user or, having sex with millions of people or prostitutes or something like that. So, I mean, these newborn babies are not even going to be catching that, but yet they're injected with that. Things like chickenpox and measles and rubella, all these different diseases that we are so afraid of now. I can remember, and my parents remember, catching these diseases as infants. It was no big deal. You got the chickenpox or the measles, you stayed home from school, you broke out in bumps and a red rash all over your body, and a couple weeks passed, and now you're immune for life from that, and it made your immune system stronger. Just so just and I mean, just anything like getting all of these vaccines. I mean, where are these newborns going to come into contact with a rusty nail? I mean, it's just ridiculous that we're giving these vaccines in the first place on things that are not ever likely to harm our children, number one. But the bigger problem with that is, so first, that's the number one problem. They're not even going to be in contact with catching most of these things ever. Number two is if they do, we're not building up their immune system so that they can fight it and become immune with their own body and their own self. And it helps to make their immune system stronger. It helps to make their whole system stronger as they go forward for life. So that is the next problem. But the biggest problem, and the problem that is near and dear to my heart, is that with these medications that are given out like candy and forced upon people, they contain all kinds of fillers and binders and adjunct things that don't need to be there. And these are dangerous toxic substances for the body, like aluminum, mercury, formaldehyde, all kinds of dead animal parts and weird things that are going into these vaccines. It's like, it sickens my heart to know that we have this precious newborn little infant who is beautiful, perfect. They're a miracle. Their system is working for them. No plan is higher than the innate plan of their own system. And we are basically taking these tiny little infants who are miracles, who are developing on schedule, who are basically part of nature, and they know how to grow. They know they're going to grow into strong, robust people. And we're taking this beautiful, tiny, defenseless miracle, and we're injecting toxic poisons and chemicals into their system. So on the off chance that they won't get something like the chicken pox, big deal. So we're taking a huge risk by injecting right into their skin, something. They can't detoxify these things. They don't have the systems to detoxify these things. And even if they do, it's going to compromise their immune system as they grow up. And that's the part that really bothers me, is that it's become so mainstream to just get your child vaccinated, and it's so entrenched in society. And in many cases, they force you to vaccinate. But even if they're not forcing you to vaccinate, you tell somebody that you're not vaccinating and they look at you sideways like, oh my God, you're a terrible mother. You're putting your child at risk. And actually, it's quite the opposite. I know from personal experience that medications and injecting poisons or taking poisons into your body can do more damage than a person will ever and can ever fathom. The link between all of these, like autism and all these diseases and, heart attacks, death, neurological conditions, neurological diseases, autoimmune conditions, all of these from medications that are given out by people that we are supposed to trust, and specifically with innocent baby little children. We are supposed to trust these doctors, and they're giving us basically poisons, toxins that are being given like legally that injure. And I mean, if you read the black box warning and you read the warnings and the side effects on vaccines, for instance, just to name one example, you will be mortified. You're gonna risk all of those side effects for measles, rubella, mumps, chickenpox, hepatitis B. I mean, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. You can't undo damage easily when, your detox pathways are compromised. You don't have the right SNPs and the right methylation pathways to detoxify these out of your system. They bioaccumulate in your body, your bones, your brain, and damage your central nervous system. There's so many children now that have terrible things like autism and neurological problems and diseases and all these. And I'm not saying that they're all from vaccines, but I can't think of a better thing to blame it on. I truly cannot. Because these babies, I mean, it's toxins. Toxins. When you have toxins and poisons and chemicals in your body, it cannot function properly, and it malfunctions, and it gets cancer, it gets neurological disease, it gets all these problems, and that is basically from toxins. And so, I don't like to stand up and say like, oh, I'm an anti-vaxxer, because I was vaccinated. I vaccinated both my children, but this is before I knew better. I understand what the medical profession is doing. I understand people who are working, to try to save the world from these diseases. But what they're not thinking of is the risks that come with, the chemicals that they're injecting, the poisons, all the toxins that really, truly is what's doing the world the biggest disservice. And these little children, I mean, you're setting them up for a life filled with toxicity. How are they going to get these toxins out of their body? The world is already such a toxic place that when you give them all these vaccines on schedule, it's no wonder that our children are sick and they have all these problems and allergies and food allergies and asthma and ear infections, and it goes on and on and on and on. But so anyways, I just mean to come on here and say again, This is my stance, not because I am some crazy left-wing person who doesn't believe in, medicine or anything like that. I don't believe in toxins. I don't believe in poisons. I don't believe in chemicals. And I don't believe in all of these things that are in the vaccines. I definitely don't believe in somebody forcing you to do something. I definitely know, I can speak with firsthand personal experience, that the doctors do not tell you the side effects. They don't tell you the risks. It's not informed consent. And if something happens, these drug companies cannot be sued. The people who hand out drugs, the pharmaceutical company cannot be sued for death, injury, permanent damage that drugs and vaccines and antibiotics and all of these things cause in the human body. And I just think that that's criminal. It's criminal, it's wrong, and it's basically like saying, here, we have all these poisons, we are going to inject them into your body, and no, if something goes wrong, we can't be sued, we can't be held accountable, so good luck. I mean, that is not a free society. And a lot of people who haven't had an injury and who haven't been injured by medicine don't understand, and they say, well, nothing happened to me, I did it, and consider yourself lucky. But then ask yourself, are you free of conditions and medical problems? Or could part of your conditions be, or your arthritis, or your cancer, or whatever other problems that you have as you get older, could those have been from these medications? So I'm just asking you to ask yourself the question. But the main focus is, I'm going to go in, I'm going to watch this video. I'll probably tell this person, what I know and the research that I know, and it won't matter. And they'll let me off, and my children will be, thankfully, they won't be forced into getting vaccines, and this won't come up again until they're in high school. So it will give them sort of an out all through elementary school, which is kindergarten through grade 8. And then, but I mean, vaccines are coming even for adults and healthcare workers, and to go in and out of countries, and it's ridiculous, and it's poison, and it's criminal. It's actually criminal for people to be making money off of these vaccine schedules when there is known toxins, serious toxins that create serious risk and serious problems for human, and they know about this because they put it right on the sheet. So in my opinion, that's a criminal offense, and so that's why I opt out. But I think it's important that everyone do their research and be informed, and not just do it because nothing happened to you or because your doctor told you to, because until something happens, until you're one of the parents of the vaccine injured children, God forbid, or they died, or they got autism, or they were never the same again after a vaccine, you can't go back, and you will want to go back. So I'm just saying, until it happens to you, sometimes people don't take it seriously. And it's easy to follow the herd. It's easy to do what society accepts. It's easy to do what your doctor follows. But, the pharmaceutical industry is a billion-dollar industry, and they're making profit, and people are being injured and dying. And anyways, that's just an update to my situation. So I will continue forward and get the exemption, but yeah, just to let you know, even here in Canada, where you can pretty much get out of anything, they are making it just a little bit harder. So anyway.